the border between Turkey and Syria has been described as porous. It's some 500 miles in length. Close to the border there, you can see Aleppo further south. We've got Homs and the capital, Damascus. Right. And on the border there, Jonathan, Kobani, the scene of weeks of fierce fighting, IS fighters.
Not only fighting, but Kobani was a great victory of the Kurdish units against ISIS. One of the best news of this whole story, if you're a supporter of the Kurds and not a supporter of ISIS, is that they roundly defeated ISIS with the help of the coalition airstrikes.
It's so important, of course, because it straddles the border.
Right on the border, yes.
And so talk to us about how this border is policed. As we said, it's 500 miles plus in length. Just how difficult is that job for Turkish authorities?
It's difficult physically. It's also difficult politically for Turkey. They don't have a single agency that does border control. They have an intelligence service that has their own rules. Nobody interferes with who they bring north or south. So there's a lot of political problems and there are a lot of physical problems. It's a daunting task.
And how much of this do you think IS has control over?
They have control over quite a lot of bits. It's changing all the time. But for instance, where those 3 girls allegedly crossed, they control the town right on the border, and that's probably where the girls are now.
Look at some of the other towns there on the border. I mean, Turkey is taking measures to prevent not just people, but vehicles, weapons being smuggled across, and that includes building concrete walls. And this, a 60-mile trench near, well, in the Kilis region. But what do you make of these kind of measures? Do you think it's come too late? Because Turkey always had an open door or a revolving door policy, didn't they, when they were trying to defeat President Assad, saying people could come and go. And it's almost now like the horse has bolted. Is it too little, too late?
I mean, sometimes you get the feeling the Turks want something from the United States before they go all out with this coalition against ISIS, i.e., what is the timetable for getting Mr. Assad out of office. So there's a lot of politics going on there. But I question whether these trenches will do the job. I mean, after all, in Gaza, they built tunnels way, way beneath the ground, certainly deeper than the 3 meters that these trenches are. So I think these trenches and concrete walls are efforts. They're better than where they were 6 months ago, but certainly not enough, particularly if you find the weak points that are, you know, thinly manned by soldiers in the Turkish army. Often the soldiers are looking south, so you wonder whether they're trying to prevent refugees from coming north as opposed to jihadi brides from coming south.
Well, let's have a look at where those 3 girls crossed the border, or where we believe they crossed the border. We heard in Tom Rayner's report there. It's thought that they entered the country through Akçakale and then onto the IS-held town of Tel Abyad, only a few miles from the group's stronghold of Raqqa. Thank you. I've been practicing all day and taking Tom Rayner's lead on that. Why do we think that they've crossed here, Jonathan?
Well, a couple of reasons. One is Tel Abyad is controlled by ISIS right now. 2, Akçakale is right across the border. It's not a big, there's no big cities there. It's relatively easy, a lot of safe houses that ISIS has. So I would guess that the girls are probably in a safe house in Tel Abyad, and they're going to make their way down to Raqqa or wherever they eventually end up in ISIS land.
And Jonathan, I just want to put to you, some people have been saying that it's not in Turkey's interest to clamp down completely on IS and really strengthen that border because of the risk of attack from IS. As close as they are to the areas that they control, they risk having an attack on Turkish soil because of that proximity.
That's part of that. Look, when the Turks want to do something, they do it. They went to their shrine inside Syria, and they basically took the shrine, except for the building itself, took the soldiers, everybody, the shrine, out of it and moved it to another place because this is a shrine of the Ottoman history. So I think when the Turks are motivated, they can do a lot better. And that's what we need to do, is to find a way to incentivize Turkey to do more to keep these European girls and boys from coming down to Syria and joining ISIS.
Okay.